Hey folks, welcome to the Energy Sketch. I'm Michael Johnson. Today we're going to talk a bit more about this concept of the mid-transition, and there's an article and a podcast linked in the description that talks in great detail about this, and I recommend both of them. So as a reminder, what is this mid-transition? Well, here's a graph I've shown in previous Energy Sketch episodes where we have the balance of energy between fossil and renewables. And today, right, the predominant source of our energy is fossils with a small amount of renewables. And what we want to do for the energy transition is scale up massively the energy that we get from renewables while we ramp down the energy we get from fossils, so that in the future we're getting clean and abundant energy from solar and wind. But there's this complicated and tricky zone in the middle we call the mid-transition. This is where those systems are not big enough on their own to provide everything, and they constrain each other to operate in ways that they're not well suited to do. And this is showing up already in two areas specifically. This is happening in personal transportation as we shift from gasoline-powered vehicles to electric vehicles, and also in home heating as we shift from natural gas-powered heating to electric heating. And I'll focus today on this idea of transportation and the shift from gasoline to electric vehicles. So let's take a look here at a sketch of the island of Montreal. And just imagine, this is all fictitious, order of magnitude, disclaimer here, this is all an order of magnitude estimate here. So if we imagine that there are a bunch of gas stations placed around the island of Montreal, what's going to happen in this mid-transition zone as people shift to electric vehicles? Certain gas stations may just simply close. They may just declare bankruptcy or just decide that it's not worth their business anymore to stay open because there's not enough people that are coming to their station to fill up with gas. So there's a risk in the future that suddenly, based on purely market economic forces, that gas stations would close. And you could have, situations where suddenly gas stations would close and you would have no more gas stations here, close a few here, close a few here. But suddenly, you could get into a situation where an entire region has no gas stations. Meanwhile, typically today, a lot of electric vehicles are more luxury kind of vehicles. They're quite expensive, and so this will probably have disproportionate impacts on people that are poor and marginalized, that rely on older cars, older gasoline-powered cars for their life, for their livelihood. So there's a risk here. If we don't manage this mid-transition area well and we just sort of give it up to market forces, we may have situations of real grave injustice and grave inequities. So this mid-transition needs to be managed carefully in the spirit of the values of justice, of equity, and security. So that was just a little snippet, folks, talking about this concept of the mid-transition, and the links are in the description. And maybe in a future episode, I'll talk more about this concept as it relates to natural gas distribution for heating and cooking. And what's going to happen if potentially a gas company wants to prune their network because most people have transitioned to electric heating and electric cooking, but there's still a few people who haven't. So how do we ensure security and affordability and safety for everyone in this mid-transition? Love to hear from you in the comments or elsewhere, and tune in next week, Monday, 12 p.m., youtube.com/@EnergySketch. Thanks so much for tuning in, folks. Have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.